Welcome to the Thriving in Her Purpose podcast with Krystle Austin, life coach, counselor, author, and speaker. I help purpose-driven women who are on the cusp of pursuing their vision, but struggling to overcome barriers holding them back and realize their value, worth, and identity so that they thrive in their purpose. Hey, this is Krystle Austin, host of the Thriving in Her Purpose podcast. We are rolling along. I can't believe we are on episode 14 already. It's crazy how something I was so hesitant to do has been flowing. I want that to inspire you as well. I know you are not doing something that has been on your heart to do when all you need to do is just start. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to have all the things set and in order before you start. I certainly didn't. I've been recording these episodes on my phone and doing all my little editing on my own. Don't let anything stop you. But that's not what I want to talk to you about today. I have mentioned on the podcast a couple of times that I co-authored a book titled Unlock Your Voice, Volume 2, Mantles, Mandates, and Motherhood. I want to talk to you about my journey with that and the impact the book is making. First, I want to shout out all the co-authors of the book. The wonderful Megan Brainers was the visionary author and curated the book. She led this book project, and it was such a wonderful experience working with this powerful woman of God. All the co-authors are powerhouses and agents of change as well. Michelle Farrar Porter, Vicki L. Baker, Sarah Bervin, and Lamisha Connolly have life-changing stories and walking in their purpose. It was a pleasure to be part of this book project with them. Go check them out. I'll put their information in this podcast episode description. But co-authoring this book was a great experience. It allowed for healing. It required me to be courageous. It built my confidence. It has helped me gain some clarity as well. The reason I want to share is to be an example to you. You may be fearful or hesitant about doing something you want to do. You may feel something within you that is bursting to get out, but you are allowing all those thoughts and feelings to keep you from doing it. Honestly, it can be scary. I was fearful of sharing my story. I was nervous about being so transparent and vulnerable and sharing something so personal about my life. But I recognized it was time. It was time to share my story to help change lives. It was time to release it and not allow that to remain a hold on me because it was. I was doing all I could to keep all of what was going on in my life to myself. That was keeping me tense and anxious. Partly because I was so worried about people talking and me wondering what they would think about me. When I finally let it out, it was a weight that was off of me. And I'm not saying that you have to share your story so publicly like I did. You can do it in your own way. However, I knew for me that God was telling me to do it this way because it will be life-changing for me and others. So, Unlock Your Voice Volume 2 includes 6 powerful stories from 6 amazing authors. Each chapter is not just sharing our story, but it includes what we've learned from our experiences and gives practical action steps that we've done to overcome our struggles and what you can do too right now to help you overcome yours. Each of the chapters are different life lessons that you can take with you and help you shift your life, especially in ministry, entrepreneurship, and motherhood. However, it is inspiring beyond that. It will empower you to make a move in your life. I want to share with you a bit more about my chapter, which is titled The Quiet Storm. I titled it that because I was going through a storm in my life, and I was going through it in silence. I was going through such a difficult season in my life, but not many people knew about it. I stayed pretty quiet about it. Only close family and friends knew, and they only knew to a certain extent. They didn't know how much darkness I was in at the time. I was sad, angry, and frustrated, but I still showed up in my life. I still went to work and did what I needed to do without anyone realizing I was struggling. I was still taking care of my daughters with a smile on my face. They didn't know mommy was having such a hard time. I do know that children can feel and sense things, and unfortunately, I do think they could feel that something wasn't quite right. However, I covered them with all the love and security that I could. So much was happening in my life, and I kept it to myself. Another reason I titled my chapter The Quiet Storm is because I have always been a quiet person. However, I have always felt a certain power and confidence within me. I knew God had put something within me that will help empower myself and others. Even when I was at my lowest moments, I could still hear the Holy Spirit within me telling me, "You are powerful and you have something special within you." And I am a quiet person, but I'm not going to let you just run all over me. I'm humble, but I know how to speak up for myself. However, I do admit that I lost sight of that temporarily when I was having problems in my marriage, which I also talked about in the book. Because I had a certain vision for what I thought should happen in my marriage, I lost my voice and didn't have boundaries. I did bounce back and ask myself, what are you doing? And after some self-work, I regained my power again. And I'm so grateful for that. So right now, I want to read to you a section I called The Storm from my chapter in the book. And it says, "How did I get here?" I asked myself. My life was not supposed to go this way. I did not recognize myself or my life anymore. I was a Christian woman who tried to live right. I made very calculated decisions. I thought things through before deciding anything. I desired to please God. I thought as long as I did the right things, I would be good and my life would go as planned. When I found myself moving back home with my parents in my late 30s with 2 young children, financially strained, an incarcerated husband, and feeling broken inside, I wondered what happened to my life. This is not what I wanted or part of the plan. Getting married in 2015 and starting a family soon after was such an exciting time. We had dreams and plans until our plans derailed. That brought on so much financial difficulty. We went from our own home to the 4 of us living with my mother-in-law. Then other events happened, such as COVID-19, being displaced due to Hurricane Ida, and moving in with my parents. After that, while preparing to move again in 2022, my husband was arrested. The man who I love, who had amazing gifts to offer the world, who had overcome so much in his life, and was called by God to do great things, was incarcerated. It was serious. Eventually, he came home. We worked on getting back on track. Then, our marriage was under attack. We could not see eye to eye on anything. We learned things about each other. Some things he did not like about me, and some things I did not like about him. It became a toxic situation. Every day after work, I thought, what's going to happen tonight? My happiness came from my daughters. Most nights after they were in bed, my husband and I argued. I would cry myself to sleep. I began to lose myself. Those struggles started to overtake me. I found myself yelling and throwing things when arguing with him. I was angry, sad, and frustrated. I no longer recognized myself. I behaved in ways I never would have imagined. I was in a really dark place. I started questioning myself. Maybe I don't make good decisions. Maybe I thought I heard God tell me this, but I really didn't. Self-doubt and insecurities rose within me. I lost my confidence and the connection with who God says I am. In 2023, I faced another blow. My husband was arrested again for something you may call insignificant, but because of the prior arrest, it was quite significant. While he was incarcerated again, there were several unknowns. I did not know when my daughters and I would see him in person again. We did not know how long he would serve, but we were hopeful and praying for it to work out in our favor. Now, those are some of the things that were happening in my life at the time. I must add here that this is something that we are still going through. However, I'm grateful to say now that I recognize that God is working all of this out for our good. Also in my chapter, I give 5 keys for growth, which are: know who you are, practice self-care, stop people-pleasing, don't compare yourself to others, and let it go. Those are 5 things I learned along this process in my life, and I share what happened in my life that helped me recognize that I needed to make some changes. I also include some action steps to help you overcome those struggles, which are practical things I did myself, such as be obedient to God, get out of your comfort zone, and choose you. You will be able to read and understand what you can do right now to make those changes in your life. Again, this is not about book sales. This is not even about me. This is about God using me to help others. Out of this will be a movement to help other people, especially women, to walk in their purpose. My process and this project has helped me unlock my voice. I want to use my platform to help, inspire, motivate, and educate. I am God's vessel for Him to work and speak through me to change lives, and that's what I intend to do. If you are a woman who has been striving to walk in your purpose but struggling to overcome barriers holding you back, reach out to me. To connect with me, you can find me on Facebook at Krystle Austin, that is KRYSTLE, and on Instagram at I am_Krystle Austin. Send me a DM if you want to chat or discuss more about working with me. I'd love to hear from you.